Good morning. Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo Podcast. I am Joey Calvo. Before we get started with our truly beautiful guest today, first, please reach out to the victims of the California wildfires. They do need our help to rebuild and, start their life over again. And then as well, I came across this organization that's starting up in late 2025, and they're doing a fundraiser right now. They go by the Chronic Illness Hotline, and so in reference to them, you can reach out to them and help donate by going to, and they help those that are with chronic illnesses. So you can go to the website that's on there as well. And just bear with me one moment. There we go. Okay. And so you can go to that website on the screen and help them get their organization off the ground. Today, continuing Women's History Month, I have the beautiful Suzan Peltekian. If I said it wrong, I apologize. She is here to supercharge your life,
yes,
and co-create a new destination for you. Unfortunately, mine right now is kind of like half asleep. So mine might not get charged up the right way. But of course, I'm saying that in fun. I got through a quote unquote cleansing, and right now I've been up and down the roller coaster with it. But we are building on supercharging it and making it better and more acceptable. So, Suzan, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Joey, for having me. I'm delighted to be here, and how great that you're doing this for our world and being of such service, and all our love to everyone who is really suffering, and they all really need our compassion and love. So thank you for spreading the love.
No problem. So tell me, who are you? Explain yourself in so many details.
I won't give too many details, Joey. I was going to say who I am is this universe's highest form of creation. That is you. That is everyone listening in.
Mm-hmm.
You are God's highest form of creation, this universe's highest form of creation, infinite spirit, infinite soul that is having a temporary experience in the body. And we're all holding hands, literally, figuratively, I should say virtually, to guide each other back to remembering who we are. It's universe's highest creation. But in what I do is I am a manifestation, peak performance, and mindset coach. And this is my everything. I don't work a day in my life because this has been my childhood dream and divine purpose. This is all I've wanted to do. And I get to do it every day now. I've been wanting to do it my entire life, but never believed in myself like most. And then when I got to do the being coached, I'm forever coach now. It was such a game changer that finally I made one powerful decision to retire from real estate 5 years ago, right before COVID had hit in January. And the number one Remax worldwide that happens to be a Canadian brand where I'm from Toronto. And I see you're from Philly, Philly. They filled up all of my coaching spots during COVID. So if I can do it, my message here today, Joey, thank you for asking, is that everyone listening in can, because you are me and I am you. And I'm here to empower you to know the true power within each one of you.
Okay. And well, also in the United States as well. So you're not just empowering Canada. You'll be empowering the United States and maybe even worldwide.
I am worldwide. I do. That's my life's work. My life's work, by the way, is to raise the conscious awareness of our planet, one human soul at a time. Absolutely. Listen, we're all one, whether we believe it or not. So absolutely, I'm. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. One thing that, like I said, I'm going through a kind of a cleansing change. Now I know that what you do may not go with what I'm going through right now. But one thing, I have a former classmate who's a healer, and he got me into, he did the actual cleansing through the phone. We did it on a phone, over the phone. And then he sent me this, the little heart pendant.
Yes.
And that's been my guide ever since it started. I don't go to it every day like I should, but I also don't have it, it's not around my neck yet either. We're working on that. But
I heard on the previous podcast.
Yeah. So we're working on that. So I'm going to bring up the questions that are. I'm going to introduce you to our number one fan, number one supporter, and she's the one that brought up the questions. She's a real life superheroine, 24/7, and her name is American Fox.
Wow.
And this is who she is. She, like I said, is a real life superheroine, fights crime every day, 24/7, and takes time out to listen to these podcasts and lets me know, just like you said, mobile has started up again. There we go. I apologize, Susan. I have T-Mobile with the 5G internet, home internet, and their live stream sucks. I've said it many times. I even said it to them in person. Yeah. But like I said, American Fox takes time out and listens to these podcasts, watches these podcasts, and lets me know how much of a difference I'm making, like you said in the beginning, and I do thank you for that, and I do thank her for that as well. And even though there's times that I feel that I don't, because I don't see it. I always want to see proof. So she has 3 questions for you.
Sure.
The first question.
Well, welcome to the human race, Joey.
Yeah.
Yes, you are making a difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that. Yeah. But I'm saying, I'm used to, the old saying of proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Always looking for the proof. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's how I am in reference to that. So the first question, you had mentioned that you're no longer in real estate. So the question she did ask was, what did you enjoy about the real estate that you did?
Oh, what a great question. And please thank her for me. I thought you were going to bring her up right now.
No. Oh, no. She watches these videos. So,
well, hello to her. And thank you, American Fox. You're such a beauty. And thanks for preparing the questions. It's always the people, Joey, just like when I just listened to you on your podcast as I was getting ready to hop on here on YouTube. It's the same. It's the people we get. 1 minute you're a complete stranger. I would cold call them or door knock. And then the next minute you're part of their family. You sell their house for top dollar. Mm-hmm. For most Americans, Canadians, it's all the same. It's probably the same worldwide, quite frankly, not just in North America. Mm-hmm. It's people's biggest asset. Sometimes most of the time it's their only asset, not only their biggest. So it was a true privilege to make hardworking, people their money and really getting into their homes and becoming part of the family. And of course, now looking back, Steve Jobs always says you can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Mhm.
I can see how I was being prepared to get here, because
Mhm.
that was a journey for me to become a realtor. And then it was a journey, of course, to become a global speaker and mindset manifestation coach. But now, through all of the lessons I've learned in real estate, I get to teach everyone worldwide, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
and not only in Canada or the States. I have many beautiful worldwide clients who get to benefit from all of it.
Okay. The
Yeah.
next question that she has for you is, tell us about the be do have.
Oof, where do I start? That's such a great question. That means she's done some research on me. She's gone to my website. She is truly your number one fan, Joey
Mhm.
Calvo.
Yeah.
This is truly, and thank you for asking this, American Fox, and thank you for asking this, Joey Calvo, seriously, because this is something like the magical model, that something that you can use moment to moment throughout your days, throughout your life, that doesn't cost a thing.
Mhm.
And I didn't know it my entire life. And when I learned it, it happens there to be, ironically, it took me years to learn. Whoever's
Mhm.
listening in, our precious listeners, can literally start implementing transformation and change in their lives right now, Joey.
Mhm.
So before I explain the the be do have is the magical model. I want to explain so that I can distinguish between them two, the two bankrupt models that most of us human beings, of course, myself included, live throughout our lives, being in victim consciousness. Who
Mhm.
you are isn't a victim. Who you are is a capital V victor. And our
Mhm.
circumstances should not dictate what we're doing, because
Mhm.
you are limitless. You're created in his image. So coming back to the be do have, there's two bankrupt ones. It's have do be and do have be. So most human beings are first stuck, and I was there for years, and my habitual way of being is there unless I quickly transform back to the be do have. And you have the capability to do that moment to moment. Is
Mhm.
we're living a conditional life. When I have, for example, a gym membership, I'll go to the gym or I'll get fit. When I have the money, I'll be happy. When I have the spouse, I'll be happy. When I divorce, I'll be happy. When I have the kid, I'll be happy. When I
Mhm.
have the kid leave the house, I'll be happy.
Mhm.
So it is conditional. When, governments change, when taxes change, it's all living from the outside in. And these are all things that we cannot control. What we can control is living from the inside out, Joey, and
Mhm.
mastering the biggest real estate, which is the one between your two ears, which
Mhm.
everyone is limitless. You have the same genius that Einstein has. And before, when I used to hear this, I thought these were just mere words or pleasantry or someone trying to empower me in a, rah way. These aren't words of empowerment. This is truly who you are. And most of us have forgotten that you are Michelangelo's David. You don't need to become anyone different. All we're doing is chipping away the layers so that you can unleash to the truth and the magic of who the creator truly made you. So the conditional way is the victim consciousness way. It certainly doesn't work because we're waiting for everything else to change, for us to change.
Mhm.
And then there's the busy bee do model, which I was stuck in for quite a while actually as a realtor. It's like do. We all
Yep.
have this 24 hours, Joey, right?
Yep.
How
Yep.
many doors can you knock on? How many cold calls can you make, or warm calls or client calls?
Yeah.
So these are two very bankrupt models that they have taught us to live in. And the be do have is the complete opposite. So it first states, start with the be. As
Mhm.
human beings, ironically, we've been doing and having, wanting to have, becoming human beings and havings, if you will.
Mhm.
This model is the magical model because it works 100% of the time. You say,
Mhm.
well, who do I be first? Well,
Mhm.
just said, I'm this universe's highest form of creation.
Right.
From there, imagine you take doing action. So let's say you want to become a brilliant podcaster like yourself, Joey. You decide
Mhm.
to be that, right? From there, it's not hustling and grinding. It is really getting in the energy of how can I serve my people the best? How can I bring the best guests to serve my people? How can I add value to my marketplace? How can I bring value to our one world, right? That's the beingness. And then from there, you take inspired action. So you're all like, I brought my all. I was at 8 a.m. My time. I'm 8 hours ahead, although I'm from Toronto. I'm currently in Dubai. I'm 8 hours ahead, right?
Yeah.
I was in LA. Thanks to the powerful internet, right? The power of the internet, doing a podcast in LA. And then I had my coaching calls worldwide, and now we're in Philly, right? And so it's taking inspired action to serve our mankind. Giving is the secret of living. So we're not just doing for the sake of doing. We're being in our most powerful self first. From there, it's the doing. We're not hustling and grinding. We're taking inspired and aligned action, Joey. And then the having it all is your divine birthright. You were born to have it all. Does this resonate?
I'm sorry. No, I was about to say, you mentioned about being an experienced podcaster. I mean, I wouldn't call myself experienced yet. I mean, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not making $250 million. I'm not like Howard Stern, because I wanted to be on the radio at one time and be like Howard Stern. And I know Canada has heard of Howard Stern one way or another.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So I had attempted wanted to go to broadcasting school to be like him. Ooh. And I couldn't afford that. And I'm like, now he's making billions and billions of dollars and getting ready to retire soon. So, but what I am doing in reference to this podcast and wanting to make it better is I just set up a GoFundMe. It's in the description of the video.
Okay.
That we're expanding. We're upgrading the equipment in reference to not only where the where the platforms I use, but also how I get guests, and some of the guests that I really wanted to get on.
Yes.
They want to be compensated for their time.
Yes.
So that was another thing I had put into wanting to expand this podcast and making it better. The main thing that I'm really want to do, and as of right now, I have 2 guests that are interested in participating in like a meet and greet, where the fans or even new fans, or even like, for example, like your followers, could come to Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Wow.
And meet you in person, where they can get an autograph or a picture with you or ask you questions, stuff like that.
Yes.
So I'm raising money to do something like that, to where I can bring people closer to guests, and even like American Fox. Because one of the potential, well, I won't say potential, I'll say possible guests that were interested in doing the meet and greet was actually American Fox. So it would, it gives the viewers the opportunity. Plus, anyone that's into superheroines, like Wonder Woman stuff, would get an opportunity to meet a real life superheroine. And they would pay for an autograph of her or a picture with her, but they get that opportunity to do that. So that's something, and I have a GoFundMe page on that, And that, like I said, that's in the description of the video. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah, and so we did the be, we did the do. What's the have part to it?
That is just naturally. We're all magnets. Great question, and thank you for sharing that, Joey. The having it all is your divine birthright. When you first be and take inspired action from that beingness, and I'll give you an example to help our precious listeners. It's like I would just, let's say, I would do as a realtor Money Mondays and make a couple hundred calls that day with my fellow colleagues, right? From the States and Canada, we get on Google Hangouts and make calls to our clients, right? Or cold calls.
Mm-hmm.
When I wasn't in the be, I was in the have, like I have to have a client, right? It's a very scarce mentality, not one of service for sure, right? So it would, and I didn't know all this stuff, of course. It would be like I'd make 200 calls and 0 results, literally 0, no exaggeration some days, right? But then when I started applying this work, and I was a realtor for a brief time when I knew a little bit about this work, it would be the first call, Joey. So be what, for example, be intentional.
Yep.
So I would set my intent and I'd be like on Google Hangouts to all our friends. I'd be like, watch out, guys. The first call is going to be a listing presentation. Sure enough, I'd go and lift the house. So who we're being is the most important. From there, notice I didn't hustle and grind. I was being intentional, doing, taking inspired action, aligned action. I was at the office. I was on Google Hangouts, right? And then the having it all is yours. Except we keep putting limits on ourselves. Everything you described there today with your GoFundMe is yours, Joey.
Yeah.
If that seed was planted within you, that was the creator who put it in you to bring it to pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, in reference to it, it was something that I really wanted to do because you know, you have all these expos, you have like Exotica for and the adult video awards and so on. I wanted to do something to where, like I said, former guests of mine come out and, you know, meet, you know, those that either watch the podcast or follow them on social media, or kind of like are fans of theirs, you know. So it's like a fan expo.
Yes.
But just, you know, like you know, where they get the opportunity of seeing the person that they're interested in. And getting to know, you know, and being able to, you know, go up to them face to face and say, like, for example, for example, Susan, if you were there, you know, and getting to know you and like, okay, so what's this B2 have, you know, like, or you know, getting an autograph or maybe asking different questions that may not come up here, you know, or like if with American Fox, you know, like what's your superpowers, you know, she's got, you know, she is like Wonder Woman, she is an Amazon, and her strength comes from her power belt, you know, and she could deflect bullets with her armbands, just like Wonder Woman. Like I said, almost everything like Wonder Woman, except she doesn't have a lasso. That's the only difference between the two. But she also has the mentality of all these things, of being able to, lift, being strong and having the mentality of outwitting the villains, and then, someone that's it, like an adult star, like a former guest I have, Liz River. She is, like you might be able to buy. She may have, besides the autographs and the pictures, she might have copies of her videos, to sell. And, you may be interested in buying one of the videos. So it's bringing everybody together.
I understand.
To introduce them, if they haven't been introduced, to potential fans.
Yeah.
Or their fans alone coming down and, hey, great to see you, so and so on, So that's what like I said, that's what the GoFundMe page is like. So every dollar does help. I mean, the goal on the page says 5,000, but my actual goal is 9 times that, or 45,000.
Well, put that out, Joey.
Yeah. It is. It's in the description of the video.
Good.
It's in the descriptions. So I put that down for all the podcasts that I'm doing. So getting back to the third question that American Fox had for you is, what are your travels and adventures?
Oh, my life is travels and adventures, Joey. What I was going to ask you, and this is such a great question, is I teach life by design. And that is literally, for whoever's listening in, I invite them or later, tuning in later, the number one thing is to start by writing out your vision. And I was going to ask you, Joey, if you've written that vision. I love what you just shared with that idea of, creating that with the fans. I believe that if you write it down, it will come to pass much faster. Well, it does by the law of attraction and manifestation, right? So I teach people to live their best lives every single day. And we start that by creating our vision. See, the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what you want. And there's a big caveat: we don't get what we want, we get who we're being.
Yeah.
And that's the self-image piece, the self-concept, the identity, if you will. Some of us don't think, hey, I'm good enough to do this, or I'm smart enough to do this, or I don't have the money, so I can't do it. And you're going to create the best podcast. You already have a fantastic one. Further, that outdoes any radio show. And if that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
So
that was one thing I really wanted to do, was expand this onto radio. Wow. And doing it to where I could do a 4-hour show or 3-hour show, or I have friends that are celebrities that have been on the podcast. I had a news reporter from where I grew up in New Jersey, and she just had a baby. So I congratulated her on her new precious baby boy. And she is someone that I would turn to and say, when this meet and greet happens, I want you to come down and, interview American Fox or Suzan or Liz River, and promote, the meet and greet that way as well. So there's other directions that I'm bringing with it all.
Yes.
And the different missions of not just having, the fans meeting their idols, but introducing them to a new way that they could be able to watch or listen to these idols if they come on. So that way it not only will their fan base expand, but when they are doing fan expos or Comic-Cons or fundraisers of any kind, their audience will be there to support them. So that's That is kind of like my goal out of it. In reference to does this meet and greet make money? That's like the least. I mean, it's a concern, but it's like the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
My focus is when this meet and greet happens. Would I like to see 1,000 people in 3 days? Yes. But will I be happy to see at least 100 in one? Yes. Because it got out there. And that's how I look at it. If it's out there, I've done my job. Yes. Even if it's not, quote unquote, successful, it did its work. So 100 people came out to the meet and greet. Okay. Yeah, they paid $50 for the ticket, which that would be the cost getting into it anyway. But if 100 people came, that's 100 people that got to see their idol, mm-hmm. or their celebrity fan, their celebrity that they want to meet, something like that. So, I mean, that's the bead I have working with it.
I love it.
I have 100 people come to this meet and greet. We have the meet and greet. It's going to be in Atlantic City. I'm aiming it for September. And if 100 people come out through the advertising, through the TV reports, TV news interviews, and I planned on 2, but all on that first day of the meet and greet. That's the intention I have on that. If 100 people come, like I said, I've done my job. I've got at least 100 people that were right. And of course, I'd be asking the participants themselves to reach out to their fans and say, "Hey, I'm going to be at this place in Atlantic City on September blank, blank, and blank."
Yes.
It's $50 to get in, but you get the opportunity of meeting me in person and schmoozing and getting chatting with me and getting an autograph or a picture with me to share and so on. So that's, like I said, that's what my goal is of it. If it's successful, great. If it's not, at least I know I did my best.
I love that, Joey. And it will be successful. Instead of saying if, I would invite you to say when.
Yeah.
When it's successful.
Yeah.
Because that's your divine birthright.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't it be successful? Look at the passion you have about it.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean.
So write it down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I already have it in my head about the when. Like I said, I just used if for right now because as of right now, it feels like an if. Even though in my mind, it's when this happens.
Awesome.
When this happens, A, B, C, D, E, all goes into plan. Yes. And so when everybody goes to that GoFundMe website and says, "You know what, Joey? This is what you want to do, I'll support it."
Yes.
And what I did not mention, and I didn't even mention it in the campaign. Anybody that donates will get recognized. I may have a little plaque type thing, where I would put it up at the entrance, outside the room, and it'd be like, the podcast would like to thank all these supporters, and every name that donated to the GoFundMe gets recognized.
Yes.
So when that happens, that's what the reward would be.
Yes.
Is the recognition that they would get. And if they even came down to Atlantic City to this meet and greet and saw their name, they can walk in as they paid online for the $50 to get into it. They can walk in there with a smile and say, you know what? I'm glad I did this.
The secret of living is giving, Joey.
Yeah.
And I love how you said you will do something back, and that's the law of reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you give and it comes back to you multiplied also.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
and, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one thing I need to update the campaign to state that too now in reference to it. But in the meantime, you know, those that do go to the GoFundMe campaign in the description of this video of this live stream,
yes,
will know that when they do donate, it doesn't matter if it's $5, $50, $100. If you're a business and you want to advertise your business and you donated $1,000, guess what? Your business will get advertised on this podcast because in the description, I have a friend who's a smooth jazz guitarist, well-known smooth jazz guitarist. I have another friend who is not only an actress, but is a model that was famous in the 70s and 80s.
Carol. Yeah.
Carol, yeah. So
I'm just looking at the see that.
And then of course American Fox. She, you know, being at the support that she gives, you know, you can't not put her in there and say, hey, you know, check out, you know, get to know this podcast's #1 fan and supporter. This is how you can reach her.
Yes.
And she likes talking to people because she wants to meet new fans. And when this meet and greet happens in Atlantic City, that's the goal. Is
right.
American Fox can possibly meet new fans and maybe even recognize her from something in the past, you know, that they may have came across, you know, or like a Liz River, you know, and you know, all the videos she's done, and you know, all the adult, you know, like I said, the adult acting that she's done, you know, stuff like that, and she's even done superhero movie videos. So I mean, that's another thing, you know, kind of, you know, giving these fans, doesn't matter where they're from, but giving them the opportunity to meet an American Fox, a Liz River, a Suzan, an author that I've had on, or even if, and this is a big if, because there's a lot of paperwork, or not paperwork, there's a lot I would have to go through in reference to it, but meeting like a Carol Alt or an Eric Essex.
Absolutely.
Why not? Yeah. Yes. So for those that are watching, and even watching later on, when this is not live, please go to the GoFundMe campaign. Please help out every which way you can. But not just doing that, you know, help the victims of the California wildfires. Help this organization that helps with chronic illness and mental illness, you know, that's coming out later on in the year.
Yes.
Each and every organization is there to help with your help.
We're all here for each other, Joey.
Yeah. And and like I said, you know, like you're saying, you know, we're here for everyone. Well, this is something I'd like to give back. You know, and eventually And eventually, if it became successful, making it an annual thing or semi-annual thing, and may even turn around and say, oh, okay, a portion of the proceeds are going to go to this rescue mission in Atlantic City, or this suicide hotline, or something like that. That's what I mean by expanding, and even expanding the podcast itself. Like, it'd be great to be on radio. It would be great to be on like a CNN or a News Nation or Fox Fox News Channel, and being out there and sharing what this podcast can do, and bringing guests like you on there and sharing stories, because that's what I like to do. I want people to share stories, to share their story and what they did to accomplish their success from it, etc. So that's, like I said, that's been my heart. And I've done this podcast now coming on 6 years, maybe 7. But now it's starting to pick up a little bit in reference to views. There's one video, there's one podcast that wasn't even a third of what this one is right now, because we're coming up to 42 minutes, and I'm going to have you,
thank you,
promote everything that you need to promote. We did a 15-minute podcast. The young lady is from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia.
Kuala Lumpur, wow.
That podcast alone did 1,600 views on YouTube. That's the highest one I ever had.
Wow.
Every other one has done less than 70.
Wow.
Or 80. And this one, because, and I'm not saying that you didn't, but she reached out to all her followers and said, listen, I'm going to be on this podcast. Watch it. And drew up 1,620 views within a month. And I took one look. I was like, my jaw dropped, because I would never think it would happen. But it happened. And hopefully your followers will come out and watch the video, because the guests actually get a copy. They get the link that they can put it on their social media.
And we will. My team will get that done right away. Thank you so much for whenever you're ready to give it out. And it's a beautiful vision that you just drew about all the stuff you want to create. When you take that pen to paper, Joey, it's yours.
Yeah.
Just hold that vision, and that's you and whoever's listening in.
Mm-hmm.
Just take pen to paper the minute you hear Joey's great story here about everything that you already have in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you want to do is read that every day. And then once you read it and emotionalize it every day, you could even record yourself and listen to it when one is driving, let's say, or they're going on a walk, or washing the dishes, or cooking, or cleaning, whatever it may be. And
or sitting at McDonald's.
Sorry?
Or sitting at McDonald's.
Listen,
especially the video.
Yes, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You asked about the travels and the adventures. The biggest adventure, really, that anyone can take, and this is from Oprah, is to live the life of your dreams. And that's what I get to teach. I'm humbled that I'm a servant who gets to guide our human souls back to who they truly are, so that everything you mentioned there, you literally get to create.
Yeah.
Because you're the star of your life. You're not an extra. So it's time to rise up and really show up, because when you step into being, Joey, that's already yours. I hope that resonates with everyone listening in, and that everyone knows how marvelous and magical they truly are, and what a miracle you are.
Okay, American Fox, you need to hear that.
Yes, of course.
because
Yes, of course.
she's one that kind of likes to be on the sideline. I'm like, why? You're a superheroine. You're gonna get recognized one way or another. You might as well grab it and run with it, because you may never get an opportunity. When that time comes, you're gonna look back and you're like, I'm proud of what I did for my country, etc. Like right now, I may not be happy with what I've done in my life, but I'll even say very quickly that I was going through mental health. Like I said, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression in 2009. And I went to psychologists and psychiatrists and everything. Well, one psychiatrist turned around and said, your podcast is your therapy.
I love it.
And it took a little bit to click, but now as I've been doing these podcasts, I'm like, you know what? He's right. It's been my therapy, because it lifts me up. It may not totally heal what's in me, but it gives me that boost at least to continue doing it. And the one person, Susan, I will say that make sure that I keep this boost going is American Fox.
Bless her.
That's like I said, she's the number one fan, number one supporter. She's been the boost that's been in my life, and really, let's say it this way. Like I said, she's a real life superheroine. Well, she's also been fighting some demons for me to a point. By keeping me uplifted and boosting my spirits, and I'm grateful for that. And I want to share American Fox to the viewers.
Do it.
And and that's what the meet and greet is. Yes. Is that opportunity for people to possibly look into meet a superheroine that could be famous eventually. Yes. And going back and saying, hey, I got an opportunity to meet American Fox.
Yes.
I'm proud of myself for that. I'm thankful for her being in my life. Could I wish more? Who couldn't? But at the same time, I have to be grateful for her, for like a Liz River, for Suzan Peltekian. And I apologize if I butcher the name wrong. Or for Eric Essex, or Carol All, or Kimberly Kravitz. That's the news reporter.
Yes.
Or anybody that's been a part of this podcast in some way, shape, or form. I'm grateful to that.
Thank you. Likewise, Joey. Yeah. As are we. Thank you.
Because if it wasn't for the guests, this podcast would have been over years ago.
Yes.
All right. So, Susan, we're coming up on time. How can we reach out to you?
Well, mindset is everything. Whoever wants to know more about that, I'm at suPerCharge with Suzan. That's on IG, Instagram, suPerCharge with Suzan. And that's the best place to find me. I do a lot of freebies, Joey. I do lives to answer any mindset questions in my private Facebook group, which is free for everyone to join. That's every Monday, every Friday. I do them on Instagram at suPerCharge with Suzan. I do worldwide free master classes, suPerCharge minus the D. So it's not super. It's SuPerCharge with Suzan. Yes, thank you for that. You're fast. My goodness, you can type and be there. Yeah, I type with one finger, by the way, so it doesn't work as fast. Yeah.
SuPerCharge with the Z, you said?
Yes, it is with a Z. Yeah, yes, but there's no D at the end of charge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
SuPerCharge with Suzan. Yeah. So I will be having many free masterclasses throughout the year where they're all complimentary and you can join them, and you'll be the first to know if you're in the private Facebook group or on IG, because my awesome team will be letting you know soon. There's a couple coming up in April, so we'd love to SuPerCharge your awesome audience, Joey, and of course you're more than welcome. And it is game changing. When I say you are limitless, I hope you find out, and for whoever's listening in, there's a spark of divinity in you. You are Michelangelo's David, and you owe it to yourself, to previous generations, to upcoming generations, and you're fully responsible. And it's a privilege to get to know who you are, so that you can live the free life and have it all in the bead you have that God created you to have, instead of living through circumstances, which we all have, by the way, all day, every day.
Okay. And in reference to American Fox, she's also on Instagram as well. She's at American Fox 12018. That's also in the description as well. She's also on X, formerly Twitter, at American Fox 4, and Threads is the same as Instagram in reference to that. And you also have a website as well.
Yes.
So that's SuPerCharge with Suzan with a Z, not two S's, but suPerChargeWithSuzan.com. So you can check her out there as well as on Instagram. And when I finish up here, I will be becoming a follower of her Instagram. And also, just an FYI, Suzan, when you become a follower on Instagram, you're also into Threads, because Threads is part of Instagram as well. Just to let you know, because this podcast is on Threads, Instagram, X, Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's out there. Sometimes I don't get the opportunity to post all the podcasts on there. Let me ask you one quick question as we're going, Suzan. Have you thought of doing a podcast of your own?
Yes, it's coming up, actually. It's a SuPerCharge podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I say that is because on Facebook, and matter of fact, when you get the opportunity, it was last year, and I stopped, and I feel bad because I stopped kind of promoting it, but this podcast is part of the World Podcast Network, and they have a Facebook page now. You go on there when your podcast is starting out. You go on there, you let them know, you join the group. You're like, hey, I was introduced to this group by the Life with Joey Calvo podcast, and believe me, the president, the gentleman that started this podcast, that podcast network, okay, was on this podcast.
Wow.
And he did, and I'm going to be very quick on this. He practically said the same thing he practically said the same thing you did in 20 seconds. He told me how wonderful and grateful I am. And I'm like, this was before what's happened recently. And I'm like thinking in the back of my mind, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, you really think I'm that? I don't think I'm that. But, like I said, as time has gone by, I'm now seeing it.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, I want to have these meet and greets because I want to bring the worlds together.
It's so awesome.
And introduce possibly new people, new fans to participants, and possibly more of an idol, more, the guests saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to start following you on X, and, they're going to reciprocate each other one way or another.
Yes.
And to the point where they're like, hey, I want to get to know you. I mean, like I said about American Fox and Liz River, they are so amazing. The one in Kuala Lumpur, she followed me. Okay, she follows me on Instagram and Twitter. And believe me, anything I do with this podcast, she turns around and reposts it on hers. And I always, like I said, I will always feel grateful when people repost stuff of mine because it shows the love. And that's the one thing that I know that I have to rebuild in my life. I could feel it, but not within me, through others. I have to reach for it to pull it into
Joey,
myself.
and all of us are on that journey, by the way. You're doing fantastically. Thank you for sharing that. It's all a return to love. Who you are is pure liquid love. You're a walking miracle, and that is each and every one listening in. No one is better than everyone. You are God's highest form of creation. You are this universe's highest form of creation. You're not only number one of one, Joey. Even if there were 1 million Joey Calvos, you are. It's a miracle that you are here. 1 in 400 trillion chances for you to be born, by the way.
Right.
So I invite you to literally pinch yourself every morning you wake up, because we're actually above ground. We get to step on the court, swing full out, and live with passion and bring massive value to our people and our mankind. Cool?
Yes. I believe that. And like I said, in reference to American Fox, the same way. And, like to anybody that has been a part of this podcast, a majority of the time, and even when I've done podcasts of myself saying, hey, this is what's going on, I'm always turning around and saying, you know what? Thank American Fox. Thank Liz River. Thank you, Susan. Thank this. Because, again, if it wasn't for people like guests like you or supporters like American Fox, this wouldn't happen. So on this point, I'm going to end it here because we're almost to the hour. And I thank Susan for coming on. And you're welcome to come on here anytime. Just let me know and we'll make arrangements and have you on again. And so when anything good and new is coming up, like your podcast, bring it, because I'll be happy to share it with you. And thank you, everybody, for watching the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. God bless you all.
God bless you all. Thank you, Joey.
You're welcome. Give me one moment.